They love fresh grass. Well, our first round of birds go to processing this week, and wow. This year we invested in a mobile chicken coop schooner. What we knew is that we needed to raise more birds, but we needed to be able to raise more birds without adding a bunch of man hours and labor needs. So with a bunch of research, we realized that there's a lot of options on the market. Things with wheels, things on skids, like this one, things with no technology in it, and things with lots of technology in it. So this unit specifically is the Mobile Chicken House's Mobile Range Coop 600. What we noticed right off the bat in our research was that the Mobile Chicken House's customer service was really great. They were not only willing to take our phone call, but they were willing to spend hours on the phone with us, answering all of our questions and calming our concerns. This unit comes with a price tag, and we wanted to make sure that if we invested this amount of money, that what the ROI was going to look like, the return on investment, and then what was it going to be worth it for us. It only took about 6 weeks for the unit to be delivered, from the time we ordered to the time that the truck rolled in. And it was really cool because the truck driver was a family friend of the business. So he had delivered these coops before. He knew how to unload them, how to instruct us to move it, everything if we needed it. Here it is, the king of all broiler coops. This is it. The king of all broiler coops. So far this was a lot easier to unload than anticipated. We just took the final piece off the trailer, the front part with the hopper, feed hopper and all that. And it looks like right now, well, I think we're gonna be able to stick everything on this trailer. We're gonna have to, we unloaded it from the bottom. We're gonna have to pick it up from the top and put it on here. We'll see how that works. Okay, so we lifted it up with the forklift and placed it on here. That's going to be a lot more challenging in the field to unload it, but we're going to see what we can do. And then came construction time. Well, here it is. Everything's in place at the chicken farm, and it's time to start building. All right, got the pallet unwrapped. Bailey's here watching. Let's do this thing. All right, step one, done. Okay, got our side baseboards laid out. It starts to look a lot bigger as you go. All right, we only had a little bit of time today to work on it, but we got all the hoops up. They look good. We're gonna start again in the morning. All right, this is day 2. Now this is not like full day 2, right? We've been an hour here, an hour there, just because of strawberries and tulips and all that, but you know what, it's looking pretty good. It's coming along. Had a few little times where we've had to call and ask questions, call the company, but they've always been quick to answer. It's the Mobile Chicken House. They've always been quick to answer and give us a solution. Sometimes I forget how lucky we are to do what we do. And then you get a view like this. Looking real good. Wait, plenty of little support systems. Hey, Alfredo! Plenty of little support bars going everywhere. You can tell that this thing has been re-engineered to be moved. Everything's reinforced. So it looks like we're probably halfway through the build, and I will say 2 things. First and foremost, the directions are pretty clear. They're digital, and I'll show you all a little screen recording of what it's like. But they take you step by step by step. And then 2, the developers give you their phone number, and you can call or text them directly, which has been super helpful. And they never not answered. Every time I contacted them, they answered, which was really, really nice. Like, hey man, I don't really understand what this is asking. And they always give a clear, concise, they're the ones that designed it. They're the ones that machine the parts. So that's what's super helpful. So we need to put this channel on here, but it really needs to be at the same height. And you can't, it's hard to use a level because your ground, right, depending on how your schooner sitting, isn't gonna be perfectly level while you're building it. So measure, put a string, and then run it even with the string. That worked best for us. All right, slowly but surely coming together. It's really starting to look how it's supposed to. We don't have much left on the frame. There's a bunch of wiggle wire brackets that kind of go throughout, but I think we should get the canvas on today, which is good because it's supposed to start raining. I wanted to kind of get it dried in, and then we could move our little pile here underneath and continue on, you know, with the feeders and the waters and all that. Well, we put a piece on backwards, so I'm gonna take it off. That's all right. Well, it started raining, which isn't great. And it cooled off quite a bit, which isn't great, but that's okay because it's coming along. There goes the roof. Pull it over with some string. We love wiggle wire. This is the best way to secure plastic like this on a structure though, so you're not tearing it or drilling holes in it or nothing like that. So one thing I'm trying to figure out is, did we leave too much overhang? Because we're supposed to have extra for these end walls, but I can't figure out, did we leave too much overhang, or did the plastic for the end walls not come with it? Either way, we just built a new greenhouse, so we have some extra plastic that we'll be able to finish this with, but I'm wondering if I left too much overhang on either side, because I know the sides will roll up and down, but I'm thinking I left too much overhang on both sides, and that I was supposed to trim off and put as my end walls. So you might be wondering if this thing is lifted, how will the chickens not escape with this? That'll make sure they don't escape. There is a right way and a wrong way to put a tire on, and that is the wrong way. We gotta flip it. We had built greenhouses before, being a fruit and vegetable farm. This is something we were pretty familiar with. And so getting the actual frame built was pretty breezy. But once we had to start introducing the tech, so the solar panels, the automatic feeder, the automatic waters, it started to become a little more challenging. The directions up until this point were great. It's like on a virtual URL. And so you can see, you can move everything. You can see from the bottom, from the side, from the top. And so that was really great. But the directions were not as specific once we moved on to like how to wire everything. We're very blessed in that we have some on-call electricians at the farm. And so they came out and helped us. And that made it a lot easier. It saved a lot of time in reading and research and how to hook everything up. All right, feeders are going in, and I had to call in reinforcements on the electrical. We got our electricians out to help me. Got the waters hung. Everything's coming. Good, Alfredo. Well, these are the auto shade curtains. They gave me a little bit of a run for my money, but I think we finally got it figured out. I'll show you what it looks like once it's hung up. Okay, so our electricians got everything hooked up for us, and mind you, we probably could have, right? It would have taken some figuring out, but we probably could have. But they did really rely on us for the programming. So I figured it out, and I'm gonna do my best to explain it. So the controller has a timer on it. And to me, it most relates to an irrigation timer. If you've ever messed with an irrigation timer, essentially all this is going to do is, at the time and day you tell it to, it's going to send power to whatever, whether it be the feeder or the lights in this case. And you could send power at a certain time and turn power off at a certain time. And so what I've done, we'll start with the feeder. For the feed auger, I've had it where it's going to turn on at like, I think 7:30 a.m. and then turn off at 7:35 a.m. and then turn on again at 5 p.m. and turn off at 5:05 p.m. So that doesn't mean that the feed auger will run. What that means is it will send power to this feed auger at that point in time. And we will more than likely adjust it. We might need to add a third setting, like a lunchtime setting, midday. When it sends power, this sensor here will sense whether or not the feeders are full. And essentially the way the feed auger works, it starts by filling the first one. When the first one's full, it fills the second one, so on and so forth. So if this one is full, they're all full, right? Essentially, that's the best way to think about it. And so if this sensor is sensing it empty, when the power is sent to it, it will run it. And it will essentially run it until the sensor is tripped or the power turns off. But what this prevents from happening is when if your feed hopper empties, it won't just sit there and run all day. That's why this timer is important. And then the lights, you're using it essentially as a timer. But think of it as a fail-safe so that auger just doesn't sit there and run all day and run your batteries out. So pretty clever way to do it. Took some kind of figuring out on that. Again, this is like not our strong suit, but I think we got it. But eventually we were able to finish, get it done, and move our first brood into the coop. One of the things that was very attractive for us for this coop is the idea that we could actually take a brood from start to finish in this specific coop. Now, this probably wouldn't work everywhere, but we're on the Gulf Coast of Texas, so it doesn't get extremely cold here, which is our main concern when we are brooding. And so with our first brood, we started right here inside of the mobile range coop. Of course, it got cold when we started. It was like one of the coldest days of the year that we actually started the brood. So we just put some propane heaters up, and it was great. The sides were rolled down, everything was tightened up, and it was able to keep it pretty warm in here. I would say that if it was to get any colder, it might be beneficial to build like a small greenhouse, maybe just out of wood and plastic, above your brood in the unit. So you're not heating the entire unit, you're just heating that one small space. Well, hello there. But once the weather cleared up and the birds got out of the little mini brooder within the unit, things became streamlined. We've been really busy with strawberries, but I wanted to show off the first batch of broilers. The efficiency here is so great. We've been moving it every 2 days or so. And I think once the broilers are a little older, we'll probably move it once a day. But you can tell the birds are happy. It's a little warm, so we're gonna put the silage tarp over the top just to help keep the birds cool. But everything's working perfectly. We're not having any problems at all, which is fantastic. We put the shade cloth on almost immediately. There was a couple of days in there where it was nice and pretty, but if it's raining and the sides are down and the sun is out at all, it's going to get warm in here. And so we went ahead and made the decision to put the shade cloth on. It's basically a silage tarp, and it immediately dropped the temperature in here, and it's comfortable in here all day long. There we go. The birds are like, what is going on here? There's an immediate temperature difference too in here. Immediate. That doesn't mean that they don't get any sun at all. We run this coop east to west. And so, meaning that the sun rises on the back side of this coop and it sets in the front part. So they get that rising sun and that setting sun, but they don't catch the heat of the day sun, which we feel like is really nice for these birds. So here's the footprint of where it was, where we moved it from. You can see the hard line where the house was, but that's the goal. Just like with our hens, that's the goal. You can see we'll just keep on moving it. Moving this unit the first time was such a breeze. One guy in the back pushing birds, clapping, you can have flags or what have you, and then one guy on a tractor pulling it forward, and it was literally that easy. We're gonna show y'all how we move it. First we'll hook the tractor up here so we can drag it, so you can see the structure moving. Me and Pancho here pushing the birds as we go, just to make sure they don't get caught up, although nothing will happen. They would just roll under that curtain, but we don't want that to happen. So we'll just make sure that we keep on moving. Come on, guys. They love fresh grass. Now this unit doesn't come without its snags. There's some things you kind of have to learn as you go. Some of just like the keynotes, the problems that we ran into but found solutions for. So the first thing we ran into was you might wire that motor backwards on the automatic feeder. So if it doesn't work the first time you do it, don't think you know that there's something major wrong. Just switch the wires. Another one was you are going to have to trim down the actual auger that goes in the pipe where the feeder is. When we were doing it, we're like, this doesn't feel right. It seems like, you know, the correct length would just be known, but depending on assembly and all of that, we learned that it is normal to have to trim some of that feed auger. Well, we wired the motor backwards, but we're running now and we're filling feeders. This is gonna make life a lot easier. The feed auger will not work well if your feed is clumpy. If you accidentally have a bag of feed get wet, it's not gonna work great. So what we did was we built a feed screen that fits on top or inside really of this hopper right here, just using some hardware cloth and some 2x4s. And so every bag of feed that goes into that feed hopper now gets screened, and we've had zero problems since then. We were having problems with the feeder taking upwards of half an hour to fill, which isn't right. It should fill in 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the texture of your feed. And so if it's taking a really long time to feed, you need to start, or to fill, you need to start screening your feed. You're gonna have to learn how to move it and how often. You know, you're probably not gonna start out by moving it every day, and then by the end, you might end up moving it twice a day, depending on how many birds you have in here. But if this isn't your first time raising pasture broilers, then this probably isn't new news to you. This is pretty common with no matter what style of coop that you're moving. Ultimately, we've been extremely happy with our decision to purchase the mobile range coop. It's just been a game changer. We're able to raise more birds with the same amount of labor. Our birds are better looking. They're clean. They're just, it's fantastic. This is our first batch, and I don't know that we've had a batch this pretty. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you watch, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.